UCC. Today we're going to be talking about the rescheduling of cannabis, and it's a really unique topic because right now there is so much that's unclear about what's going to happen in the next even 6 months for the entire culture of cannabis. What are some of the positives that you guys... Let's start there. Let's start with the positives. I like my sweets before my bitters. What are the positives of us shifting into a Schedule 3?
Well, let's just start off with saying this is JJ.
Oh, yeah. This is Gabe.
This is Javi.
And that's it.
Yeah, we are talking about the reschedule of cannabis. The FDA has agreed to reschedule cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3. And we're just going to go through the pros and cons of this subject.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I think what stands out is one of the biggest pros is just more a formal approach to cannabis, and so because of that, it being like a quote unquote in like a pharmaceutical category, you would have a lot more access to a wider variety of patients and people that need this medicine, and it would also be covered under certain like insurances or medical programs so that people would have easier and more affordable access.
And one of the most exciting like pros for that in that same aspect is the ease of research and it being more available, and maybe people being like, oh, it's Schedule 3, like it's not it doesn't have that stigma against it, and they're like thinking, oh, maybe it is pretty good, let me see what this does. People that had no interest in researching cannabis now might have one.
Yeah, even children that are epileptic having access to different cannabinoid compositions,
more access,
tinctures.
Yeah, more access is great.
That's the biggest thing that I think would be available to a lot of the population is the under 18, the kids that could benefit from cannabis. And I know that's a sensitive topic in a lot of different places, but at the end of the day, there are a lot of kids that are today using cannabis for medicinal benefits. And I think it's in Arkansas that they have a young girl that I think she's 8 years old, has up to 1,000 seizures every month.
Has RSO.
Yeah, and she ends up using cannabis, and it's reduced her significantly to where they can really manage, and she can be pretty much normal and have a pretty sufficient life.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing, dude. That's so beautiful.
It is.
And what else could happen too is like with more research, like you were saying, they can even develop or find even more uses for it,
right?
Medicinally. Because right now it's the lack of research and it's the lack of experimenting with it. See how we can really make more things that benefit us.
Well, for years and years in the great state of Utah, that was their excuse. Oh, we need more research.
Yep.
We need more research. There's not enough research. Well, it's like, good luck using that excuse now. Like, do the research. We'll pay for it. People want to pay their tax dollars, want to put towards cannabis research and things like that.
And I think just diving into that further, the way it does help with removing a lot of those Schedule 1 like constrictive lines. So as a company, if you were wanting to do cannabis research and it's a Schedule 3, you're not having to follow nearly as much strenuous procedures as a Schedule 1 drug. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot more, you could say, research being done that's like beneficial. There's more time spent doing like those things rather than like trying to make sure that you're within a regulation.
Right.
And so those regulations get stripped away and the access to do the research is improved, but it's also become a way better streamlined, more efficient process that it's going to be way more beneficial. And that's very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah. 100%.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
it's really unique when you start looking at the other aspects of the rescheduling, and you mentioned a little bit about it earlier to me in the day, of potentially having more access for your VA, combative veterans that have been able to come back and now are using insurances that restrict them from being able to utilize cannabis, especially if they're in a state that they don't allow it because it's not deschedulized. It's not. That's what's really unique. Each state has their own little craft way of viewing cannabis right now. United States needs to reconjoin as a whole, and everybody deserves the opportunity to have this medicine. And it really does help when insurances can look at it and potentially start covering some of those heavy fees, especially if you're looking at craft cannabis. It's not easy to curate craft cannabis.
Yeah, well, that's another big thing about the reschedulization is, it's a pro is businesses can now write it off on their taxes.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so that brings up profit tremendously, and
Banking.
more people want to get into the game, and that's brings us to our cons. Bringing more people into the game isn't always a good thing.
Yes.
Because it's the people with a lot of money that just want to take over and take control and take profits.
Yes.
And a lot of those companies are big pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I want to say Beard Bros Farms, or Beard Bros on their Instagram, they shared...
Shout out Beard Bros.
Yes, they shared a interesting article about like the number of patents already being filed for. And what that means is like you're filing for a certain cannabinoid patent or something of that sort where you'd be able to monopolize or be the only company that can make that for like Schedule 3 cannabis that like the VA would give out or insurance would cover. And those companies are like Pfizer and big pharmaceutical names. And so
I'm gonna sue you because that's a Pfizer cross.
Dude, like, seriously though, that's hard is because it brings up what Gabe said about speaking about craft cannabis, and I think that's what the majority of people are worried about is if pharmaceuticals would be the ones to take over, then like they're the ones doing the cultivation, so growing your medicine, and that might not be done with like all the most love and compassion it is now with the local farmers in their respective states where they can. And so the quality might take a huge hit, and so like that is your medicine, and that in its sense could be very scary.
Yeah. And why Wes says that is because the new bill will pass to where you have to be a licensed physician to be able to administer cannabis or to distribute cannabis. So you have to have a licensed facility that's GMP certified, and you have to have a bunch of documentation to go behind you to be able to curate cannabis. A lot of these mom and pop shops, they don't come from that. They come from culture where they were given seeds as a younger kid, and they had the opportunity to start growing, continued their family's legacy, did what their dads were showing them how to do. They don't necessarily have the diplomas and the degrees that they need to be able to have be a pharmacist. You can't just say, hey, I'm a pharmacist. There's schooling that has to go into play, and a lot of these people that come from culture, unfortunately, don't have those degrees to get the licensing that they need to be able to be a fully functioning cannabis in that licensing world now. Facility,
Yeah, and that becomes really hard because you look at it and it's how many jobs could you be taking away then if that is the case in those states, right? And you look at somewhere maybe like, we brought up Oklahoma before, because they have like a lot of licenses as far as like cultivation license to grow, like just
it's a very saturated market.
So, yes, and that's where you have a lot of people that what Gabe is saying that don't meet the qualifications that are coming down from like the Biden administration. It's going to be like looking to be approved, and so that would potentially take away a good amount or the majority of those people in their jobs and their business to be replaced by the Pfizer grow op.
Yeah. It's unique.
Definitely brings a lot of, unknown challenges that we don't really know how they're going to handle it. There's a lot of speculation going on.
Yeah. And I think it really is big to note that the timing of everything, like, this is something that's been on the back burner for a while, and it is an election year, and it is a big push maybe to help get final votes, and we still don't know if it would ever be approved or not.
Right.
It's one of those, like, this could be something that sits on a desk that never gets looked at again just because they wanted more votes at the end.
Damn, yeah, you're right. I never thought about it like that.
That was my first thought. That was my first thought. Was like, oh, it's an election year, and like this definitely looks good. Like not to get too much into politics, but I never really heard much of Kamala Harris doing anything like as a vice president. Like I don't know what she has done for us, but then you hear that she's pushed the FDA to get this moving, and it's like, well, that's awesome. You know what I mean?
Because she talked about it, like.
And that's a point in my book. But it's like I don't have, of course, if they're doing this at the right time.
Yeah, and I think it's just to note.
Hopefully, it's not. They're just using us. You know?
And I think it's just to signify that we don't know what stipulations might be finalized as far as it being moved to Schedule 3. All of what we've named are like possible things that could happen.
Right.
But there could be a lot more good or bad within all of it. Or this could all just be like
a
gimmick. It could all be a gimmick, and next thing you know, it's gone, and we just still at Schedule 1, and that's it.
This is May 6th right now, just to date this and like let everyone know we're talking on May 6th, so we don't.
Yeah.
Maybe by the time this comes out, shit's different. I don't know.
Shit's timestamp.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, verified over here. You already know.
And I think that's one thing that YJJ says that this is so cool is because we're now seeing movement in the industry, and we're hoping that it's movement in the right way.
Right.
Anything that's cannabis driven or cannabis advocacy in any format, whether it's being for companies, big or small, we hope for it to shake out to be the best, and we know that states will have their independence when it comes to the finite details of how the taxation and everything ends up going. Like it has. It's a Schedule 1 right now. Being a Schedule 3, some of those regulations will loosen up a bit, and hopefully it should relax the market some. I think that is one thing that people forget is we have a medical market for a Schedule 1 drug right now that has implications of no medical application, right? So we are in a very beautiful spot being Schedule 1, and it's getting better. Things are loosening up, hopefully. That's where we really got to start advocating for the people that are in the culture, shining light on Ridgeline Farms, some of the smaller corporations that are doing really well for themselves. Here in Utah, like Pure Plan, Dragonfly's doing good for themselves. Love those guys. Wholesome's doing good for themselves. Like Block's been very kind and
Beehive doing great with Buzz line. Doing
great with their Beehive especially has been doing really good in my opinion. Like the flavors they've been bringing in. So it's cool to see the Utah market and the
beginning to flourish.
Here, starting to get a little bit more feet underneath them and some new products into the works.
So I'm gonna go off with what you're saying, and I'm gonna ask you maybe what we've mentioned with the rescheduling, it going to Schedule 3. Like, how does that impact Utah?
I think right now Utah has a great it's good for us in a way. Some people have. I've had some interesting conversations about it.
So let me just say this. I think that it'll benefit more the medical states that, they're just medical, and not so much the states that are recreational.
I agree. Because we already kind of do it in the way that you were describing, is that you have to have a pharmacist. That's basically all medical.
Right.
You go see a doctor, they prescribe you it, you go get your shit.
So how's it going to benefit us? Tax deduction, and we can possibly
Better
get
pay for
more
the
in the industry. Yeah.
Insurances will allow us to work with them at a cheaper cost. So if they would like to give insurance to their employees,
Right.
cannabis
So for
company
us
will
already
have
having-
your time giving insurance.
It could be
Exactly.
included in their insurance policies, so
Yeah.
they just...
Yeah, so for us already having this system, it's just like a bonus rather than like we might get diminished, you know what I mean, depending on what companies get brought into and how many licenses Utah
money
opens
talks,
up.
so
And,
money
yeah,
talks.
exactly.
Do you think because of all that it would expand a lot? Do you think the Utah market would grow in the sense of more
Licenses? I think
and-
Utah wants to slow it down as much as possible. So if they
That's
can
a
be
bold
like...
take. Okay.
I think if they can be like, oh yeah, federal says it's Schedule 3 and everything, but they're gonna be like, we're still giving 1 a year until 3 years, and then 2 a year until 5 years, and then 3 a year. Or, I don't know. I think they're gonna do a slow drip as much as possible, like they have been the past 5 years.
I feel that.
But that's just my opinion. Who knows? We'll see. I hope and pray that they're just like, let loose. Here's all the licenses. Let's see who buys them.
I mean, we've been able to enjoy the cannabis culture, legal, illegal, medical, recreational. We've seen the spectrum, and we've stuck with the girl the whole way through. You know what I mean? We're trying.
We always will.
Yeah, that's the one thing that that will stay standing.
Yeah,
it's that legacy.
That legacy.
market,
No matter what, it's here. You know, it doesn't matter where it's at, and that's one thing that I want people to remember is that the culture will never leave. Ever. It's not something that will ever go away. It's only gonna get better the more time that we have understanding the plant and the benefits that it has for us. The more we'll be able to get access to it in some of these more hard to reach states like Idaho in particular. Shout out to the homeland.
Mr. Spudster himself.
Where did you say? One more time.
For the homeland, dog.
Oh yeah, the homeland.
The homeland.
Potato land.
Yep. Spuds. Remember, dude?
No, but that's a good. That brings up a really good point, though. Like you look at like a reschedule and like a lot more, not necessarily just people being open, but the remaining states. I mean, we are already like almost like 75% of the way there.
Yeah.
As far as like how many states have some form of legalization, and I think a big if you were to reschedule it, be approved and everything, that at that point it would almost be like every state would almost have to. Not that it's within the fine print that they have to, but it would bring so much light to those places that I think that they would be almost forced to do it. So, you know what I mean? And it could be something that mimics Utah in a sense of a small market. It could be like Idaho, hey, we're gonna give out 5 licenses.
Yep.
Right? And that's it. You know, but that's a start.
For real. Yeah. Just like our program, dude.
Hey, and that's potentially where I see the market going with everything. I know that there's a lot of people that have this hothead
approach.
Well, yeah, let's just make it illegal. Fuck it, you know what I mean? And I get it. I get it.
Let's make weed illegal again, or something.
Yeah, and I'm with it too. You know what I mean? I love the passion behind it. It's like we've dealt with so much bullshit for so long, and you guys have already came to the conclusion that this is something that's beneficial. fuck it, make it illegal again. We don't care.
Yeah.
We already know the benefits. That's what that slogan's about. Is like we're here to stick with the plant now because we understand it a lot more than we did before.
Well, and we don't want you getting in the game and fucking it up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's it.
We know what we want. You know, we have the ability to curate it now too. We've been shown the ropes and been given the gear to grow the bananas. Like the monkeys fucking rally, you know what I mean?
Rally the troops.
Rally the troops, dude. Yeah. That's my opinion on everything, though.
I guess one last big topic that maybe Reschedule might bring up, or people might bring up in a sense, would be home grow. Did you guys see anything within the proposed bill, or
I did not.
anything about maybe if it is rescheduled, it's a Schedule 3, it's a plant, maybe on a federal level, that's where you have to look at it maybe being you could grow 2 plants legally anywhere.
Can you make your own Tylenol in your kitchen?
No, literally. So I think I saw
maybe
that people think it's not gonna benefit home.
Yeah, and it's gonna take it away, and they're gonna be like, you can't.
Like Gabe said, it'll have to go through a whole process of bureaucracy.
Yeah,
gonna have to
you can't grow a pharmaceutical plant. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yep.
It'd be like making your own Xanax, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Your ass be popped from manufacturing.
Yeah. A pharmaceutical.
That would be crazy.
Yo, you wanna know what's crazy? It's crazy
like
that,
a potato plant. It's like a tomato.
I was gonna say, it's crazy. Could you imagine walking in a room and you see a setup to make ibuprofen? All the machinery, all the
Where?
set aside chemicals. You walk in a room and there's all this aside. This is how you make ibuprofen. And then it's hey, this is how this is a 5x5 garden box with 8 plants. And tell me which one looks a little bit more
intimidating.
Yeah.
a little bit more
crazy,
suspicious, a little intimidating.
It's crazy that literally a plant can get you in trouble.
But that does make sense. So you bring up that it would be almost an axe for home grow.
Yeah.
It would be almost a fight against, because we brought up one of the biggest benefits is access, and why have devil's advocate, why have a home grow if there's way more access?
Professional access.
Right, quote unquote. Not that
scientific evidence.
Yes.
Because you want to know why? Because my body's different than your body, and your body's different.
That's
than
saying
body.
the same thing with fucking making your own ibuprofen.
But look, no.
Look, my body's different.
I need 800 milligrams.
No.
Hey, Hondo.
You know what I mean? No, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Okay, but that's where you get into education, right? And you start looking at what the plant you're curating.
That's why it shouldn't be categorized the same way. That's
Right.
the hard thing about it being Schedule 3 is now it's categorized the same as all these other pharmaceuticals, where it's still much healthier than all those shit too. They're okay, it definitely wasn't Schedule 1, wasn't Schedule 2 for sure, so they went Schedule 3, but then you read the underlyings of that and it's yo, y'all are fucking just deschedule it says shit. That's what we need to do. It's a fucking plant. Deschedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It should be literally tobacco and alcohol is regulated.
Right, people should be marching in the streets. Deschedule, not reschedule. While this is in movement, get the fucking white out. Deschedule.
Schedule.
Yeah, there you go.
Honestly, I agree. I totally agree. That's what needs to happen. But still, this shift in the ideals of people now, it is in a big sense positive, because at least they're thinking about it, and it's maybe we'll have to put up with this for 2 years, and then
2 years.
Okay, but
that's what I was gonna ask you. Estimate how many years are we gonna deal with Schedule 3 before they say deschedule it? Let's just
I say 5.
treat it as alcohol and tobacco.
I say 5 too.
That's hopeful. I would. I think it's gonna be
It's
longer.
progressive.
one other really big thing with reschedule. What happens with people that have like convictions and?
Yeah, no, they're still locked up. What I've seen is like it's like, oh, now you need to let these people out because there's nothing that says, I haven't read this, don't quote me on it, but it's what I've seen is there's nothing that says you're gonna let these other people out that are convicted for something that's now Schedule 3.
And so you move it to Schedule 3, and everybody that would be locked up or have like charges, be in jail for the possession of cannabis, right? And like the extent does matter a little bit, and like the other details. But,
Kim K, where you at?
You definitely have people locked up for $100 of weed, and then now you reschedule. You go to Schedule 3, and it's like, it was $100. They didn't have that much. You could have less. They could have had 8. They could be out there with a dime bag and be put in jail, and not be let out even though it has been rescheduled. So that's something that we should definitely bring light to with like the push for reschedule, deschedule. I think that to quote Beard Bros again, they were talking about that not all progress is good progress. And I think that within the cannabis community and the culture that there's been so much advocacy and push to legalize and on the state level, and we finally got to the point that it's like the states have taken over. Most of the states are legal, and we've had so much good progress that I don't want that to be stopped because of a rescheduled proposal bill that could just bring all of that progress to a stop in a sense, because we have to start over from whatever's passed.
It's true. Gotta stay mindful. Everyone stay very vigilant during these times. They're crazy. They're fast. Elections are here. Shit's getting swept under the rug. Look under the rug.
He's gonna check your rug. He's talking to you. Check your rug.
Yeah, pick up your rug.
He's conspiring now, bro. What's under the rug?
What's under the rug?
What's under your rug?
That's what he said. He's look under it.
Check.
You better check.
Hey, what's up? Fuck, I just found ate the blue dream. Under the rug.
It's all splat.
You're welcome for that hockey puck.
No, that slab.
It's like those rosin chips.
Yeah, I was like, you didn't even try to use the hair straightener. You just got flat flour.
You just stomped.
My weed chips.
Just stomped.
I'm like fucking at the Cranberries, the Werchers, bro.
The Ocean Spray Farm.
The Ocean Spray Farm, bro. With the weed.
Get the weed under the rug, dude.
Yeah, dude, under the rug.
Boy, my weed clean.
I don't know. Check your rug. Oh no. Oh shit. Hey, any last hot takes or things to say for reschedule?
Honestly, drop a comment and let us know what you guys think. Send us a message, comment on our next post, whatever you guys think. Honestly, we want to know what everyone else thinks, because this is a whole community issue that's happening right now.
Yeah, for sure.
It's nice to know other people's opinions on it.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I feel like we got a lot of clarity doing a little bit of research through the last little while as everything's been coming a little bit more into fruition, and hearing some of the people that I respect, their opinions on the topic as well. I feel like we're going up. I feel like things are moving forward no matter what. That's the way that the United States works. United States wants something, they usually get it done. No, any format, especially when the masses is behind it.
Yeah.
But crazy times, boys.
True. Only ways up, though.
Yep.
Stay medicated, folks.
Stay loved. Stay medicated. Stay humble. UCC what it is.
UCC what it is. Alright, y'all. Thank y'all for listening. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at utah.cannabis.club. This is JJ.
This is Wes.
This is Gabe.
This is Javi.
UCC what it is. Peace out, y'all.
Love you guys. Thanks.
Smoke it up.
Damn.
Smoke.